I think this is the perfect mix of speakers because first we had Ren and Vince who basically shattered all of our hopes in the gaming industry. And now I'm here to give you a bit of hope. Not that you're going to be multimillionaires, not that it's easy, but that if we really work as a community, we can get somewhere. So بس لأعرفكم عن حالي, my work before Arab Arcade, I was a freelance writer for a bunch of websites, magazines. I used to cover the tech and startup sector in Lebanon. بس لتشوفوا إنه عن جد you don't need to have a background in coding, art, or whatever. You can come from anywhere and find a place in the gaming industry just because it's so massive. After that, I worked with Alt City for a while, for 6 months, managing their game development community, and then spun off on my own into Arab Arcade, which was founded in January 2016, sorry. Before I got into Alt City, there was already a lot of progress in the community being made. There was a huge conference, the MENA Games, done by Habib Shams and IFP, which was really a huge success. It's what got me into the game development industry. Before that, I had no idea. غير maybe, I think I Googled once حرب الحروب, and I saw it on Facebook, was it? Or it was just a browser game. And I thought, browser games, they're ruining gaming, and I don't want to play that. But I mean, they really did a huge push to push the envelope in terms of where gaming is going these days. There was also the Netherlands Game Awards, sponsored by the Dutch Embassy. There were a fair few amount of teams participating in it, and it actually planted the seeds in one of the teams that anyone who's in the gaming community right now knows and loves, which are Groovy Antoid. They participated in that, and they're now doing fairly well after having received an investment from Speed. So in January 2016, we founded Arab Arcade. We brought the Global Game Jam to Lebanon. We started out with 5 teams, I think, in that game jam. We had 15 or 16 participants. A year later, that number had tripled. We had 15 teams and about 45 participants. So game creation events for us are at the heart and soul of what we do in the community, because it really gives people a chance to go through the A to Z's of making a complete game. At the very least, a prototype. And for us, we have 2 game creation events. We have game jams. Oh, and so is pizza, by the way. We have game jams, which are basically hackathons for gaming. You come on a Friday evening, we give you a theme, we provide some mentorship, we help you find a team if you don't have one. And by the end, you need to have a finished prototype, and it's really not as hard as it sounds. And once you actually go through that process and see how, it's not easy, but how approachable it is, then I think this is the starting point for a lot of currently working game development teams in Lebanon, where they found the enthusiasm that they needed to start working on games through a game jam. So I think if anyone's wondering whether or not they want to work on games, come to a game jam. End of October, the last weekend of October. Other than that, we have ideations. I think we did 1 or 2 of these, but we're going to start doing these more. If you're an artist, if you really don't want to commit 48 hours, if you just want to come up with the idea of a game, present it, this is the event for you. هلا مني هون لبيع بطاطا. I'm just showing you what the really good events that allow you to meet potential future team members, potential investors. حتى I met one of my investors at the ideation. It's really, it opens up doors for you to participate in these community events. نحن, what we do is always we follow up with workshops. We've had about 30, 40 workshops, all divided into series. You can go to our Facebook page and look them up. But game jams are a good way to get people enthusiastic. Workshops are a good way to build on the knowledge that you gain during a game jam. More workshops. In September 2016, we co-located with Falafel Games and Mary Berries. في حدا من Mary Berries هون? Make some noise. Hello. And it's been really a huge boost to us because we've always been able to reach out to them, and they've always been there for advice, help, whatever. But it's also been a boost for the community because it's really created some opportunities. It's really given the community a place to come to see game developers at work in action. It's also allowed us to partner with these organizations on events like Beirut Game Fest. That was our first conference. We had more than 200 people, more than 20 speakers. We are aiming to quadruple that in 2018. So 800 guests. We're hoping for 40, 50 speakers with a few international speakers, and extending it to a 2-day event. In March 2017, we partnered with Speed on a gaming vertical. We helped 2 gaming startups get into Speed, receive $30K in funding, the whole package, along with some mentorship from us. It was the first time gaming startups get accepted in an accelerator in Lebanon at such an early stage. Many have received investment, but never at such an early stage. And I think what we need to do and what we need the community's help in doing is to break this perception with risk-averse investors that gaming is any more or less risky than any other industry. Again, we did another event, Beirut Geek Fest. For us, we did Geek Fest because we found that games, just like so many other industries in Lebanon, kind of fly under the radar. For us, geeky is anything that's within the intersection of creativity and technology. So we invited basically everyone we knew within that sphere to come exhibit their work. And obviously game developers within the community were allowed to exhibit for free because we love them and that's what we do this all for them. And it was really a great opportunity for people from different industries to communicate, collaborate, get to know each other. And I think I've heard from at least 4 or 5 of the 25 exhibitors that we had, Holy Ghail game developers, that it was a good opportunity to meet people from different industries and open new opportunities, come up with new ideas, and this is exactly what we were aiming for.
How many people attended?
500. Thank you for asking. And we had more than 25 exhibitors. In May 2017, we also piloted an ambassadorial program. This is something that I want you all to listen very well. An ambassadorial program is something we did in Tripoli. We basically worked with a couple of locals, told them, okay, we want to help you replicate the community that we have in Beirut. And it worked out great. We had a meetup, we had more than 50 people, we had a game jam, which we put together in like 3 days, just because everyone was excited and Ramadan was coming up. We had more than 25 people, 8 games, first game jam in Tripoli. These are the events. And then we had a summer of incubation in our lovely little space. We had more than 6 startups incubated. And it was really a great opportunity to see what it's like to help a game development team go from idea to product in as fast as possible and as efficiently as possible. So after that, we started working with our first INGO, and this is a strategy that we're going to be adopting a lot moving forward. We worked with the Friedrich Naumann Foundation, a German foundation, to bring a couple of game jams, one in Beirut, one in Tripoli, games with a social cause. This is just to show you that there's a lot of interest and a lot of money being poured into all of the different applications in gaming. Our final goal as Arab Arcade is to have a world-class accelerator, and based in Beirut, accepting startups from the region. We are Arab Arcade because we see this as a regional project. We do not see this as only Beirut, only Lebanon. So for us, step 1 is to build better ties where there are already great and thriving gaming communities like Morocco, like Jordan, like Tunis, like Egypt, and the UAE. Step 2 is expand the ambassadorial program, go to different places around Lebanon where there's high density and there's not a lot, it's not very easy to make it to Beirut, to our events, to our initiatives. This is important because game development is something that you do mostly on a PC over the internet. You don't really need to be in the most expensive real estate in BDD or wherever it is. Our effort is to decentralize this industry, not make it based in Beirut. So if anyone here spends most of his time outside Beirut or knows someone who does, please recommend them because we really would like to expand this program so we can reach more and more people and grow this community. Step 3 is bring you guys, the people working to make games, trying to make a living off of games, a steady stream of work. which you can make for clients. I'm not talking releasing your games on the store. I'm talking تتعلموا من كيس غيركم, as they say. يعني a client in North America, in Western Europe, in Eastern Europe, doesn't matter, and someone who wants something in advert gaming comes, pays you to make a game, a simple game, something that you can learn from and something that you can get paid for. This is a way which you can sustain your dream profession while actually learning it at the same time. And step 4 is whether or not this is true, I don't really care. This is something that we should all do. Convince local VCs that game development is no less or more expensive than any other industry in the tech sector. For me, I've convinced myself that this is true because I have to. Delusion is important in this industry. But for anyone else, for you guys, what we need you guys to do is grow the community with us, help us cut through the noise, and show that if we come together in force, Anjad, this can be an industry that can be relied on. Fun fact, 15, 16 years ago, Sweden did not have a gaming industry. It is now one of the fastest growing and most profitable in the world, and it's really something to behold, and this is what we're aspiring to do. Why game development? And this is where I want you guys to listen, and everything else doesn't matter. This is the question that I'm asked so much. People kind of interested in making games, they've been playing games their whole life, and they've always had this dream of making a game. And they're not sure, they feel like it's unsafe. They feel like it doesn't really guarantee their future. Game development, if you're the kind of person who wants to do something on their own, it's low development costs. All you need is a $500 laptop and you're good. All the programs are free, all the development tools are free. You don't really need an office in Silicon Valley or in LA or in Montreal or whatever. You can just do your thing and release it on your instantly global market, which Vince talked about. Vince spoke about this in a negative way. But then I'd go back to the cut through the noise thing. We're never going to have the millions of dollars in advertising budgets to compete with EA, to compete with Rovio, to compete with whoever it is. بس نحن, if we form this community, if we work together to build this network, Lebanon is an incredibly well-connected country. The diaspora is insane. If we work together to help each other out, and at the end of the day, there's no competition. So you're all releasing on the same market, and my success is your success, is your success, is your success. So if we work together to cut through the noise and make sure that Lebanon is heard as a local industry, it really can go a long way to saving those millions and millions of dollars that we need to make a mark on the Play Store or App Store. In the last few months, Arab Arcade are no longer the only ones doing events in game development. We've had initiatives by people like Joseph Hazzam and Graham Studios bringing Unreal Meetups to Lebanon. We've had Groovy Antoid bringing Unity Meetups to Lebanon, and I think this is really a very important step. It shows that the community is growing, the community is maturing, and it's sustainable. It doesn't need to rely on an organization. Something that I really feel is really important, and I think everyone, including the investors or the representatives from Berytech or MEVP or whoever might be in this room, by the way, Berytech have always been a huge help, is that game development is one of the only ways to empower artists and musicians in the tech sector. Who here is an artist in this room? Who here makes pretty things, basically? Okay, علوا ايديكم guys, عايزين نشوفكم, ما تستحوا. And do you guys find any potential in the tech sector? For income, for making money, for...
Sure, it's pretty intimidating.
Okay. How come?
Just because it's learning an entirely new language.
Okay. Well, you don't really have to code to work in the tech sector. This is a beautiful thing about gaming. It's such a multidisciplinary industry. It's not just a programmer. It's a programmer, an artist, someone to handle the marketing, someone to do the music, someone to do the game design, which is not the visuals, but the mechanics of how the game works. And all of these different parts are equally important. So if you ever find yourself intimidated to go into the tech sector, not knowing where to start, you really need to consider gaming as an option, because you are an equal part, as equal as anyone else. And this is, I think, one of my favorite things about game development and one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about it in Lebanon. So many of my friends are just stuck doing lame advertising work where Alpha asks for those fugly 3D designs and we have eyesores on the street all day. But really, within game development, it's a chance for you to let your creations come to life, work with people you never thought you'd be working with before, and feel like an equal partner in all of this. And mostly it's a passion-driven industry. Something that I've seen, especially from Groovy Antoid, people like Joseph Hazam, people like Grey Imp is, and I think if you talk to the people from Speed, they'll acknowledge this, is they work much harder and sacrifice a lot more than really any other startup. Yani Groovy Antoid, as far as I know, they got the 30K investment and they barely paid themselves any salaries because they understood how important every penny of that is to go to marketing. So this is more for the movers and shakers in this room. You're going to get a lot more for your dollar from a game development startup than you are from anything else. And this is something I really believe. Why Lebanon is a regional hub? Again, this is a question I hear a lot. Is Lebanon really worth anything? Is it going to lead us anywhere? Is it going to work? Before we get into why it is going to work, I want to say something. Game development is something where إنه إذا علقت أو خربت أو ما بعرف شو, you can just take your laptop, go wherever you have relatives and keep working. Nothing's going to stand in your way. But why Lebanon is a regional hub? Because while there are different areas that might surpass us in one or two elements, we have the perfect combination of everything it takes to be the regional capital for game development. Yani, we have relatively low restrictions on freedom of speech. Yani in Saudi, where you have tons of money, قد ما بدكم مصاري, you can't, they dictate what you can and can't put in your game. They finally allowed women to drive, yay us, but no, that's really not fast enough at all. We have trilingual, we're trilingual with very good connections in the West. The biggest game development studios, the biggest concentration of game development studios lie in English and French-speaking cities, which we're very good at. عم نحكي Montreal, Quebec, Paris on the French side, عم نحكي LA, Seattle, anything on the East Coast. And there's really huge potential to create the kind of network to have solid collaboration that's profitable for both sides. We have a talented and well-educated population. We hear that a lot, so I'm not really going to dwell on that. And we have a rapidly growing industry. Vincent, you said there are 3-4 companies. That was a year ago. ومن سنتين كان زياد يقول إنه في شركة ونص. هلا عنا 8 established companies either that have received funding, but there are a lot more working under the radar who are part of this community, who you will see as an everyday part of the community. And I would place the number at 15 and not 4. We have an attractive lifestyle. يعني إذا بتروحوا على تونس أو المغرب أو الأردن, which, I mean, if there are any Jordanians, guys, Amman is the most boring city on earth. I love it. It's beautiful, but God, it's boring. We have an attractive lifestyle to bring in the people who kind of suffer from these restrictions and bring them in here to create sustainable, viable, thriving businesses. We have no restrictions on online payments or voice over IP مثل تونس and Maghreb, who can't Skype or can't WhatsApp call. In Dubai, you can't WhatsApp call unless you're on Wi-Fi, which is the weirdest rule ever. We're central in the region, well connected with the West, and we have a relatively low cost of living. I know Beirut is expensive as hell, but compare it to Dubai, and I mean, I've never heard of anyone moving to Dubai to start a game development studio. Okay. This is a picture of our lovely community, drunk as hell, taken at the latest Geek Fest. This was at the party on the BDD rooftop. You can see Joseph, Azam. Joe, can you point yourself out?
Behind the girl in the middle.
Okay, yeah, that's true. So really, it's a great community. We really need as many people as possible to cut through the noise, to help it grow, to help it thrive. It's a very collaborative environment. It's, I think we have about 4 WhatsApp groups. You ask something on any one of them and you get an answer instantly. We have a Facebook group, we have a Facebook page. Please follow them all. And I'm going to be around. If anyone has any questions, please don't hesitate.